"Happy birthday," she screamed, smearing cake on my granddaughter's face. "He's the father," my son stunned us all, 5 years of lies exposed. "Here's what I've come up with." In the kitchen, shrouded in morning mist, I found myself smiling at the picture of my husband. Tom's kind smile seemed to reflect back at me always. I straightened my apron and peered out the window. Our affluent Scarsdale neighborhood was still quiet and calm. Tom, our angel, is turning 5 today. The beautiful Rosedale bushes that Tom had carefully cultivated in the flower bed were displaying their blossoms magnificently. Just a year ago, we were sitting together, sipping coffee and appreciating the exact same vista. Who could have predicted that those tranquil days would be snatched away by such a sudden heart attack? I reached for the silver photo frame on the counter, staring at our family portrait. It was taken last Christmas when Tom was still in good health. The joy in my granddaughter Melody's smile, cradled in my son Ryan's arms, glowed like the sun. Ryan's wife, Rachel, had a perfect smile, wearing designer clothing appropriate for her career. Back then, everyone's smiles felt more genuine. Leaning against the kitchen island counter, I took a slow sip of my warm coffee, letting my mind wander over all those happy memories. The day Melody was born. That endless night of holding Tom's hand in the waiting room at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan. The weight of that tiny life when I first held her. The day Melody called me Grandma for the first time. She kept repeating the new word again and again, her face beaming with pride. That moment of happiness still burned bright in my memory, and the last day Tom held Melody. The look on his face, holding her close in the hospital, weak but still loving, as he murmured, "You're everything to us." Suddenly, the phone interrupted my thoughts. It was Ryan calling. He was calling like he always did right before he went to work on Wall Street. "Hey, Ryan." "Morning, Mom. Is everything set for the party today?" "Yes, everything's ready. No need to stress. Rachel's been behaving oddly recently. Could you keep a close eye on her today, just in case?" "Of course. I'll look after her." The silence in the kitchen felt heavier after I put down the phone. Honestly, something had felt off for about 2 weeks now. Just the other day, while Melody and I were playing in Central Park, a man I didn't know came up to her. He was a fancy-looking architect, he said. It was weird because Melody, who is usually very reserved, was talking to him like they'd known each other forever, and that particular giggle of hers. Melody's specific laugh was familiar, yet I couldn't place it. Later that night, Ryan was on his computer until the early hours. The screen showed what appeared to be medical files. He was constantly checking his phone, occasionally sighing deeply. The lines on his forehead showed he was concentrating very hard on something. When I asked if work was hard, he'd just say something vague. My son, who always told me everything, wasn't sharing things anymore. Rachel's Instagram feed was filled with family perfection. Best mom life, perfect family, blessed with my family. She was still showing everyone a perfect family, even though she had 100,000 followers. I noticed that her online activity, her posting, had become oddly frequent recently, almost as though she was trying hard to make a point. The smiles she presented and the pictures she posted felt somehow off, somehow fake. The things I overheard during the family get-together last weekend also bothered me. I found myself thinking about those blue eyes that Melody had. I couldn't remember seeing that eye color in Ryan's family, Aunt Martha had mentioned. That specific laugh that Melody has, I felt I knew it from somewhere. But I just couldn't put my finger on it, Patricia's sister Sarah had confessed. They should have been simple, harmless comments. But Rachel took it all a little too hard, it seemed. She darted into the bathroom, and when she came back, she just put on some makeup. It hurt to see her trying to stop her hands from shaking as she put on her face. That evening, Patricia happened to be watching television and saw an advertisement for DNA testing. A new product from a company called 23andMe. The tagline, "Discover your roots," and the idea of getting to know the complete truth about your ancestry somehow stuck with me. There was a buzz in the neighborhood about a new architect who had bought a place in the expensive Scarsdale area. His name was Nathan Cooper. I heard he'd had some professional interactions with Rachel's business. His design work had even been shown in the New York Times real estate section. Could all these things mean something? Or was it just the worries of an older woman, a nurse, with too much free time on her hands? My instincts, which I'd developed during my 3 decades of nursing, were telling me that something just wasn't right. I found myself staring at my husband Tom's picture once more. I truly hope my intuition is off, but if there's trouble brewing, I have to keep our family safe. The day had fully begun with the sun's appearance. Today was the day my darling granddaughter turned 5. We were holding an extravagant party at the Ritz-Carlton in York, Westchester. All the preparations that should have filled me with joy were darkened by an uneasy feeling. The kitchen clock read 8 a.m. The party's start time was getting closer and closer. How would this day conclude? The ballroom's chandelier shone beautifully, lighting the space decorated in pink and gold. Rachel, could we shift that balloon arch a little? Rachel gave precise instructions to the party planner with a perfect smile. Every single detail of the Disney princess decorations showed how much attention she paid to it. Her Instagram skills were truly amazing to look at. Have they confirmed the catering? Don't forget about the menu for kids with allergies. Yes, Mrs. Wilson. We made special colored menu cards for the allergy-friendly options. I observed Rachel from the back as she got ready in the dressing room. She was wearing an expensive designer dress and she seemed more in control than usual. Even so, her hands would shake slightly anytime she looked at her phone. Rachel, are you all right? Maybe you should rest for a moment? Oh, yes, I'm okay. There's still so much left to do. Just then, Rachel's phone vibrated with an incoming message. When she saw the name on the screen, her face tightened. I immediately declined the call and started to fix my face. Rachel, if something is upsetting you, really, I'm okay. It's Melody's big day today. There's a dark undertone to those words, it feels like. Standing by the door, Ryan kept going over the guest list. He ticked off each name with the precision of a Wall Street analyst. Ryan, there's no need to be so careful. Still, this day is important. Everything has to be flawless, I suppose. I noticed an envelope he had in his hand. It felt out of place, as if it were a personal thing not related to business. It's 2 p.m., only 1 hour until the party starts. The guests were starting to stream in. Melody, who got changed at her grandma's place, should be here shortly. Excuse me, Mr. Cooper is here. When the receptionist said that, Ryan and I stopped what we were doing for a second. Architect Nathan Cooper walked into the venue looking calm and collected, and he was carrying a present that was wrapped very nicely. It's great that you could come, Mr. Cooper. Ryan's voice sounded unusually serious. Thanks for inviting me. Nathan's answer also had a strange quality to it. They weren't acting like typical coworkers the way they were acting. I watched from a distance and then quickly went towards the restroom to freshen up. Grandma, Melody turned around and came running toward me. She looked like a little angel, all dressed up in her party dress. Her blue eyes shone in the light of the chandelier. Happy birthday, sweetheart. As I hugged her, I heard Melody's unique laugh. Her laughter definitely reminded me of someone I knew. I saw Rachel weeping in the changing room by chance, her eyes glued to her phone. The display featured an email from 5 years prior. It was sent by someone called Nathan, whose email address I didn't recognize. Rachel quickly shut the screen and started touching up her cosmetics. Oh, Patricia, my apologies, she said. I just got some mascara in my eye. It was obviously a cover-up, but I didn't have the guts to call her on it. It was 5 minutes before the party was supposed to start. More than 100 guests had already arrived at the party location. The adults seemed uneasy, even though the sound of children laughing was all around. The cake is prepared, I heard the pastry chef announce. Rachel turned toward him. The 5-layer cake looked like something from a storybook. Nevertheless, despite its flawless appearance, Rachel's face revealed hidden despair. Rachel, it's almost time to cut the cake, I said. Rachel slowly gave a nod. I could see both resolution and anxiety in her eyes. Time was exactly 3 in the afternoon. The wheels of fate were turning unstoppable. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Over 100 people sang in the enormous ballroom. Melody, under the bright lights, looked like a princess from a fairy tale. Happy 5th birthday, Melody, the sugar icing on the cake read with beautiful lettering. Balloons in shades of pink and gold floated from the ceiling while happy kids cheered. It was a perfect birthday party, but somehow I knew something was wrong. As Rachel stood in front of the cake, her hands were shaking a little bit. Her elegant features seemed stiff, not fitting for this joyful place. I noticed Ryan at the periphery of the party, clutching a note and looking at his wife. His eyes showed profound sorrow, not rage, and there was Nathan Cooper. He stood silently in the background, his arms folded like he was awaiting his destiny. All right, Melody, make a wish before you blow out the candles. Patricia gently touched her granddaughter's shoulder. Melody shut her eyes, holding her little hands together in front of her. Okay, everyone, let's snap a photo. Rachel's voice sounded unusually high. She pulled out her phone and pointed the camera, but the shaking in her hands was now obvious. Rachel, do you want me to take it? No, I'm okay, I need to capture this. Then it happened. Happy birthday, here's your surprise. With Rachel's scream, an unbelievable event occurred. She grabbed the cake and smeared it into Melody's face. Everyone in the room froze. Melody's face was coated in frosting. Her blue eyes were open wide with shock. Tears slowly started to form. Grandma. Melody called out to her grandmother in a shaky voice. The scene broke Patricia's heart. How could you? Someone yelled. Kids started crying. Cameras flashed constantly. Watching guests eager to post to social media made this whole mess even worse. I instantly hugged Melody, trying to wipe away the cream. But the wounds to my granddaughter's feelings were still there. Rachel, what did you just do? Ryan's angry voice boomed. However, Rachel was giggling. Tears streamed down her face while she sported an insane grin. Her flawless cosmetics were smeared, black streaks marking her face. What about me? What secrets was I concealing? Rachel, this isn't the right time or place for this kind of thing. Why shouldn't it be? Let everyone hear what's going on. What are you aware of? The room became quiet. The atmosphere became thick and tense. Then Nathan Cooper moved forward. Allow me to clarify. Mr. Cooper, please, I beg you. Not in this location. Paying no attention to Ryan's objection, Nathan started to talk. Then he stopped. Stop. A shouted scream resonated through the hall. I'll reveal the truth. But before she could get a word out, Ryan produced the envelope. I already know who Melody's biological father is, and it has something to do with the gathering today. At the sound of those words, everyone in the room took a sharp breath. Melody was still sobbing in Patricia's embrace. Her dress was smeared with a pink cream stain. It felt as if it was reflecting the twisted nature of this family. Ryan, I'm begging you, please stop. Not here, Patricia begged in a shaky tone. There are little ones present, but nothing could stop it now. Years' worth of concealed truths were about to be unveiled in the most terrible way. Rachel crumpled to the floor, a life built on an expectation of perfection. This flawless family facade everyone saw on social media, and the reality that she had suppressed for so long. Everything had come crashing down. Nathan Cooper slowly looked at Melody. Her bright blue eyes were proof of their relation. The attendees were all frozen in shock by what was unfolding. The party organizer was confused, while waiters were motionless, frozen with the plates in their hands. The room felt oppressive, as though time was suspended. Ryan then extracted the contents of the envelope. The official document he showed me was from a medical laboratory. Those words, DNA test results report, were at the top of the page, and they seemed so sterile. The test results had come back just 7 days prior. Ryan sounded surprisingly composed. I initially found it hard to accept, but alas, this is real. Some of the other families there were leaving with their kids, though most of the grown-ups couldn't stop staring at this awful news. Half a decade ago, Nathan Cooper started down a dark path. Rachel and I had crossed paths due to a work project. Rachel was still on the floor, just completely broken. Her hair and makeup, which were always flawlessly done, were now a mess. Hold on. Nathan's speech was interrupted by Rachel's yell. Let me finish telling this at least. Just grant me that much. She slowly got up, her hands shaking as she tried to fix her hair. 5 years ago, people expected me to be perfect. Social media followers pushed for a perfect family appearance. Ryan's family always assumed I'd be a successful designer. The strain kept mounting little by little. Then Melody quietly whispered, "Mommy, why are you crying?" That simple question suspended everything for a moment. Rachel took a deep breath. He was my refuge. He was the place I could just be me, completely unburdened from all those standards. And after that, we had Melody. Nathan's voice was filled with deep emotion. But us. I was a coward. Just a second, hold on. Patricia spoke up loudly. To talk about this in front of our daughter. But it was too late to stop it now. The DNA test shows with 99.99% certainty that Nathan Cooper is Melody's biological father. Ryan presented the information with a calm demeanor. I initially focused on Melody's striking blue eyes. Also, there was that unique laugh. They all originated from Nathan. Rachel's voice shook a little bit. I was fed up with pretending we were the perfect family, but once I created that image, it was difficult to tear it down. The number of followers kept growing, and I started getting requests for interviews from magazines, and also Nathan. Ryan kept speaking in a low voice. You relocated to this region not long ago, to be near Melody, right? Nathan Cooper let out a heavy sigh. I can't deny it. Going 5 years without seeing my daughter was unbearable. Is that the reason you became my client? Rachel's tone was full of both anger and sorrow. Is that the reason you picked this place? Yes. Nathan confessed honestly, but it was a bad choice, for the truth to be exposed like this. At that instant, Melody hid her face again in Patricia's chest. Grandma, I'm afraid. Those words snapped all the adults back to reality. A 5-year-old child was sobbing in front of them. They had ruined her birthday. And now she was learning a truth that couldn't be fixed in the worst way possible. Everyone, Patricia spoke in a low but firm voice, let's stop this here. We shouldn't keep going in front of the child. Everyone agreed with that idea. The people who were there at the party quietly exited, each caught up in their own internal thoughts. Just the main characters remained. Ryan, Rachel, Nathan, and Patricia, who was holding Melody. The truth had been uncovered. But what should we do now? No one had any idea. In a room inside the Ritz-Carlton in Westchester, New York, Patricia and Ryan. I sat across from Rachel and Nathan. Melody was in the next room with the hotel's childcare people. The silence in the room felt incredibly thick. Patricia, using the calm she had built up during more than 3 decades of nursing, started to speak slowly. Every single person in this room right now has the ability to make a huge difference in one little girl's life. Let's recognize that first and foremost. Rachel didn't look up, and Nathan was looking out the window. Ryan's hand still shook a little bit. We have two options, Patricia went on. Either we can hide this reality permanently, or we can build a different sort of family for Melody's well-being, a brand new sort of family. The word family repeated itself, echoing in the silence. I could hear Ryan's voice starting to sound confused. That's right. This might be an incredibly difficult truth, but this is the reality we're in. And most importantly, that little girl is blameless. Rachel lifted her head for the first time. Her eyes, puffy with tears, held a faint spark of optimism. I don't expect to be forgiven. Her voice was quiet and unsteady, but for Melody's sake, I'm willing to do anything. Rachel, Ryan said his wife's name. Forgiving you will not be easy, but he took a deep breath. Melody calls you Mama. That won't change anything. Nathan spoke softly. Please let me have my say, too. For 5 long years, I've regretted my awful decisions. I don't plan on suddenly acting like a father now. I just want to help out in any way I can. Precisely how, though? Some hesitation was still evident in Ryan's voice. Therapy, Patricia suggested. First, let's get some experts to help us. Melody's emotional health has to come first. Everyone agreed. We have to take things slowly, one thing at a time. We can't be in a hurry. Patricia spoke again. We'll explain everything to Melody, making sure it fits what she can understand. Each grown-up will have their own responsibilities, too. How about social media? Apprehension colored Rachel's words. We should get rid of it all, delete everything. It was Ryan who unexpectedly proposed this. A clean slate. You no longer have to act like everything is perfect. Tears, fresh ones, filled Rachel's eyes. But these felt like tears of release. How about legalities? Nathan asked, raising a practical concern. I'll connect you with a lawyer I trust. Ryan responded, we need to set things up correctly for Melody's future. Just then, Melody's laughter drifted in from the other room. Pure, innocent laughter, oblivious to everything going on. We have to keep that child's happiness safe. Everyone nodded silently at Patricia's words. A week later, time had moved on. Melody was on the swing at Scarsdale Park with Patricia gently pushing her. Ryan and Rachel had begun attending therapy. Nathan was working with his lawyer to set up regular financial support and visitation schedules. Grandma, go, Patricia smiled at Melody's innocent voice. On the park bench, there was a tiny locket holding a picture of Tom. Tom, please watch over us all, this child's and our own fresh start. The sky was soft, shaded a tint of orange. Tomorrow could bring new things to face. But this instant held the promise of better things. There's no perfect path here. But for the people we care about, we can keep going. We can move forward. We can keep going, one small step at a time. Maybe that's the real definition of family, I think. Grandma, can we please go buy some ice cream? Melody pulled on her hand with a lot of enthusiasm. Okay, let's go do that. A new chapter was about to start.